Let's turn our attention to AEW wrestler, double Ring of Honor champion. He's an icon. I'm going to say it. It's Dustin Rhodes joining us today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing fantastic as well.
Incredible.
And remember, tonight, the AEW Texas kickoff party. It's going to be at Texas Live. It's running from 6 to 9. It's free to get in. Dustin is going to be among those people there. We can talk about all of that, but we're getting you ready for All In next summer. And as a shameless plug, remember in a week for Peace-a-thon, we have a 4-pack of tickets to All In to auction off.
Ooh, that's big.
See?
That's big.
He gets it?
Yeah. Before we get started, and I know Kevin just said this off air, but the last time we talked with you, it was in that little studio, and you left such an impression on me that I was like, I'm a fan for life of that guy right there, because you were just nice and respectful, and you seemed excited to be here and excited to be part of everything. So I just really appreciate that and wanted to say thank you again. I'm sure I overthanked you last time too.
Thank you very much. My daddy raised me right, man. I'm a very humble individual.
That is awesome.
And because he's a Texan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We were raised right in Texas, man. All of us.
Except for the teams that you root for sometimes,
What do you mean?
Right?
Come on.
All right, so we got to get into this.
Okay.
You can either help us fix the Cowboys, or we can start talking trash about November 30th when your Longhorns play my Aggies.
Right. Okay, let's start with Dallas.
All right. Hey, do you have any ideas? Because the whole thing has really been going
Get
poorly.
rid of Jerry Jones.
Okay.
We got to talk to him
We
tomorrow
have
at
Jerry.
10:30.
Yeah. Do you want us to play that cut? Dustin Rhodes says, get rid of Jerry Jones.
I mean, I love the Cowboys, but they break my heart every year, And this year, it's just like I'm not even watching. It's crazy because they've lost 5 home games.
Yep.
I mean, just by huge points. It's
They've been
crazy.
behind by 20-plus points in 6 straight home
I'm like,
games.
what is happening? Nobody's passionate anymore, or what's going on in the office? What's going on behind the scenes? Give McCarthy full control, please.
Yeah.
And I think we have a chance.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm in on something like that.
Interesting.
I mean, I think I don't know if Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, we've discussed that many times. As long as the money keeps flowing in, I'm with you on that.
I mean, it's America's team, right? And everybody hates Dallas except us. But Dallas is huge. What a franchise. To win another Super Bowl, I mean, my God, it's been forever. Come on. We could win 2, 3 in a row. I mean, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs right now. I'm surprised they lost that game the other day.
Against Buffalo, yeah. What about the quarterback deficiency compared to Kansas City and realistically everybody else in the NFL, but compared to Dak?
Man, Dak, I mean, his stats are so good, but what's going on this year? I don't know. Is it him?
And now he's hurt.
I know Rush is in, but Rush is a backup quarterback. Nothing against him. I like him. He's done well, but still, we need something.
Ooh, I have a football wrestling question. And this is based off of, I'm not a huge Dak fan. I think he's a good quarterback.
He is.
For some reason, when Dak plays in a playoff game or this super huge game, he gets the least out of himself. For some reason, he always plays his worst football in the biggest moments. You don't have to specifically say this wrestler, but are there certain wrestlers where they've been really good as maybe not the major card guy, and then they get elevated because they're like, look, you've been doing really well. And for some reason, they couldn't handle the pressure of they're kind of now pushed into being like the guy or one of the main guys.
Yeah, you're going to sink or swim in that instance, right? We get opportunity after opportunity, man, and it's up to us to shine or fail. And the crowds are going to let you know. The good thing about Texan crowds are they love and they're very passionate about pro wrestling. What works in Texas might not work in New York City or California or Oregon or wherever, right? There's different places, so you got to be able to adapt. And being given the ball is a lot of responsibility, and it's not for everybody, right? I mean, because you are on the clock 24/7 doing everything. You're the leader of the company. You are the quarterback. You are, the revenue's coming in, and you're doing your part to bring these fans in, and it's hard for some people. It's very hard. If you were born in the business like me, and you love it, and you're passionate, and I get that chance, I'm going to run with it. I'm not going to be scared of anything. But time is running out for me. I'm 55 years old, but I've had a hell of a career, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing you get into the pro wrestling industry for is to become world heavyweight champion. My brother's got it. My dad had it. I have not. And that bothers me. It really sticks in my craw a little bit. And I want a chance at that. And just give me a run. Let me show you what I can do.
I'm 47 now, unfortunately. Just turned 47. Couple back surgeries.
New 30s.
Used to pitch. There's no, like, I don't want to pitch anymore because I know I can't do it, right? I can't do it at the level I used to do it at, so I don't even really want to do it, if that makes sense. How do you, at your age, keep doing what you're doing and do it at a level that maybe would put you up for world champion?
So, it begins with training. When you start your training, back in the olden days, man, we were on the road 300 days a year. So your body gets calloused, it gets used to all the pain and all the, the impact of everything. But if you land the right way, which is you're not going to do 100% of the time, you're going to land and it's going to be off a couple inches, and that's something drastic can happen. But if you really hone your craft and learn how to do these things with repetition, you're going to be just fine. But man, I've had 15 surgeries. My knees need replacements. I don't know what's holding me together. That red light comes on, we perform. I pay for it afterwards. But I don't want to let the fans down. And I'm still passionate enough about the business, and I'm not slowing down just quite yet. And I think when that day happens, when that day occurs, I'm going to know that, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those prideful idiots and say, I'm going to keep going until I'm 65 or 70 like Ric Flair. I'm going to know it's enough and take a back seat, I'm kind of doing that right now anyways, being a mentor, but still, having 2 belts, it's great. And I'm working really hard. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm down to high school weight, which I haven't been since high school.
You look svelte.
Huh?
You look svelte. You look great.
Thank you. I mean, it's not like the old days where everybody was 350 pounds, right? Bodybuilders and stuff. It's more of a fit business now, right? Their physiques are more athletic build or fit. So that works for me, and I'm just happen to be tall. So, yeah.
We got to know Ross and Marshall Von Erich when we were still a night show. They were very young and just kind of getting into it all, and we were like, all right. And it's been a really fun relationship, and I know your relationship with them is unique. Having been born into the business, them having been born in, do y'all share a lot of experiences with that, or do y'all talk about it much in the conversation of being like-minded in that aspect?
We do, absolutely. And having Kevin there, their father, it's the other. Over the summer when we won the 6-man world tag team titles, their dad Kevin was with them and us, and it was so special. Right, but Kevin has put it into their heads that, because I've known Kevin a long time and been in the business for 36 years, he said, you guys listen to Dustin, right? He's not going to lead you awry or lead you astray. And they're constantly saying, okay, I would like to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, hold on. Let's put this here instead of there. So placement of things. And then they understand it and they grasp it. So me mentoring them, I love it. These kids are hungry and passionate, just like I was when I started, right? And having Kevin out there, it's a dream come true for sons. I remember my dad, the first time, we wrestled together, it was like, what the hell? It was great. You can't top it. So it's a special moment for them. And I just hope that they continue, getting the reps, getting better, and they will. They're young. Thank God they're young.
I remember them telling us that the day that they had talked to him about wrestling with them for the first time.
Yes. And
he was sick with the flu and everything, and they said immediately he jumps up, starts doing push-ups. He's like, I'm getting ready right now.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the passion. That's
old school, man. Yeah. That's that work ethic.
That never leaves you. And you've got another, that's the 6-man tag team championships. Yeah. The Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships with Sammy Guevara, and I actually saw him wrestle numerous times on the independent scene before AEW was even a thing. What can you tell us about him? Because obviously he's got plenty of local connections as well.
Another young kid, right? He's from Houston, Texas. So, I mean, having the opportunity to mentor Sammy Guevara is pretty cool too, because Sammy and I think the reason that it works is I'm more of the old school storyteller and he's the high flyer. So you have a little mix of both, and it's exciting. And so far, the fans are really digging us together. So that's cool. I mean, I want to run with this as long as possible. Sammy's a great talent. He's just young.
Yeah.
So he needs some, structure. And I'm doing my best to structure things for him and to see things that he would do and do them well. And let's get in there and have some fun. And I think it's all about just having fun.
All right, before we started this was interesting to me because as a kid going to the Sportatorium, the one that I was excited to see but most scared to see was Kabuki. Mm-hmm. And you said your first professional match, was against Kabuki?
In Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah, your first match in Japan was against. So I guess if you're around my age, in your 40s, and you watched World Class Championship Wrestling at the Sportatorium, Kabuki was awesome, like to see, just because so different and the green smoke juice stuff.
Cool.
So what was it like getting to, maybe this is just too much of a personal question for me, hopefully the audience loves this, but I'm excited to hear what it was like to wrestle Kabuki.
Well, I'm 19 years old, so I'm terrified out of my mind, right? I'm just kind of starting in the business. Had been training probably 10 months. Had a lot of matches. My mentors were Steve Kern and Mike Graham. My dad's mentor was Eddie Graham, Mike Graham's father. So in Florida is where I started, but I actually started right here at Doug's Gym with Skandar Akbar.
Oh yeah,
downtown Dallas, and trained with him for about 6 months, and then went to Florida. But stepping in the ring with Kabuki, which you watched as a kid, very scary character. There were several that were scary to me that I was terrified of. He was one of them. The Spoiler was one. Ox Baker was one.
Yes.
These guys terrified me, right? Even Nikita Koloff, when he was in his heyday, when he was at top on the top, was just like, I don't want to be sickled by this guy.
Is it true that he talks like that all of the time?
No.
Okay.
No, he was just in gimmick, playing a part. He's a great guy. I think he's a preacher now. He does some ministry stuff. But Kabuki, it was very cool. They would send, the young guys would come over to me and say, because we were in separate locker rooms, right? I didn't talk to him or anything like that. Let's do this, and this. And I'm like, yes, sir, you got it. Getting in there with him, you're just like, oh shit, he's gonna kill me, but he didn't, right? He led me through this match, and it was actually pretty cool, and it was like very fun, man, very cool to be in there with such a legend like him.
We need to address something that happened in the break. Alec is a ginormous wrestling fan, and he talked about how 2 of his 3 emotional experiences watching wrestling involved Dustin Rhodes, to which Dustin then asked, did you see my match with Cody at Double or Nothing in 2019? Alec, what happened after that?
I said that I was holding it back, and it's true. I was welling up. I was trying to hold back the emotion, and I succeeded that time. But, last time I got emotional was when him and Cody won the tag titles, and I was, maybe 14? So, times have changed a little bit.
What I just heard,
13. So
what I just heard, Dustin, was he thought it was a pretty good match.
I thought it was a fantastic
maybe not
match.
A 5-star classic that he was looking for.
No, it definitely was. It definitely was. Don't put words in my mouth. Okay. But I held it together so I could enjoy the cinema that was happening in the squared circle.
You didn't even get emotional when Cody's like, I don't need a tag team partner. I need my brother. And they hugged, and it was amazing.
That almost got me. Almost got me. It really did. It was such a great story, and that's one that's going to stick around. I love being emotionally invested in these things, so that was really fun.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Now, speaking of being emotionally invested, you talked about the Spoiler. We showed you a program we have from World Class Championship Wrestling back from 1976, as well as some autographed pictures of the Von Erich family. I know we've talked about your relationship with Marshall and Ross, but just seeing this kind of throwback stuff, which will also be available during Peace-a-thon, what comes to mind from your training or your childhood or any of that?
I remember a lot of those programs like that because Dad had every one of them at the house. He also had a lot of, when he was on the cover of Pro Wrestling Illustrated or The Wrestler, He had every cover. And
Yes.
I still have it in storage. And it must be 300 magazine covers. And it's just wonderful history, right? But to see the old cards like that, it brings back memories from the early days, because I remember them like it was yesterday.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. I was, and that's one of the reasons I actually wanted to play that WCW theme, because I was going to ask the very basic.
I'm trying to buy it right now.
Okay. All right.
People were always reaching out to me. They're like, "Oh, I want this theme, man. You should play the theme now." I'm like, might be a little outdated for now, but you know, it still brings back a little.
And we were talking about the War Games and Wrestle War 1992. I know, obviously, not a singles match, but
the greatest.
Yes, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. The best War Games match I've ever seen. I know you've been doing this for a long time, but what is it like when they go, all right, we're going to lock you in a double cage with 9 other people, 5 of which really don't like you, and let's just see what happens?
I want to be first.
Okay.
I want to be the first in.
Then you can be prepared.
Yeah, I want to last the hour.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a big thing for me. So if I get to go in first in the cage, I'm in there to the end. It's like a feather in your cap. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Many, many War Games I did, and I loved them all. That one was very special, man. 92 with Sting Squadron and the Dangerous Alliance.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Florida is where we actually did it, and that crowd was just nuts. Crazy loud, and it just feeds us, you know. The energy is off the chart.
So we've talked a lot about the difference between even that era of wrestling and modern wrestling, and I was joking with Mike. I know he told you in the break that he had been to the Sportatorium several times. My reintroduction to him to modern wrestling was at the Curtis Culwell Center for AEW in 2021, Winter is Coming. The very first match on the main card was Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson going to an hour draw. And he looked at me about halfway through and he goes, hey, are all the matches this long? And I go, no, I do believe we're headed towards the longest match in AEW history.
Yeah.
I know going an hour used to be, that's just what you did. But can you kind of break down, like, whether it's time differences, move sets, whatever, all the differences that you've seen shift throughout your career?
Absolutely. My dad and Ric Flair were involved in many of those. In Harley Race, I remember them. I went to them as a kid. It's a long time, right? And back in the 80s, it was very different than it is now. So if you're going to go an hour, you better perform for these people. You're not going to do the same things they did in the 80s or late 70s in an hour
hold
match.
That headlock for a while.
Yeah. No, they're going to boo you out of the building.
Yep.
You got to be more energetic. You got to do a lot more to have them involved and get them kind of amped up. And it's tough. An hour's a long time. I remember my first hour match. It was me and Ricky Steamboat versus Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton. They were the tag team champions in WCW. We were in the Omni, which is kind of like Madison Square Gardens of Atlanta, Georgia. And the crowd's electric. We're supposed to go to a draw. At 45 minutes, I freak out. I'm so tired. I tag Ricky Steamboat. I wasn't supposed to. He comes in. They switched the titles that night off of my mess up.
Oh.
We still went like 58 minutes. But then after that, and it was because of my mess up, right? Now we're the champions, so we had to get it back on track. But they're able to do that on the fly like that, right? And the next one, we did like 2 months in a row of hour matches, and it became easier. But that was my first, and I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh boy, I better, do something here. But then the more you do them, the more you get used to it, and the time just goes like that. But you better keep the fans involved when you're doing an hour match, because that is a long time.
You just mentioned a couple of them. We were talking about some of your mentors off air, and somebody asked us on the Franklin Frankel injury attorney text line, can you guys ask Dustin about his relationship with Barry Windham? And I know you told us, but what did he mean to you coming up in the business and perhaps now?
He's like 6 years older than me, but I grew up around him. Him and Blackjack Mulligan, his dad, were always in, Texas around the house or something. So he's my best friend for many, many, many years. He's not real good right now. He's in a bad way, health problems and stuff.
Did he have a heart attack, I believe?
He did. I visited him in the hospital, and I love him to death, man. I just hope that he stays with us, because, I've seen so many just tragedies over my 36 years, and it really stinks, right? You don't want to see that, but that happens all over the world in every business. But for us, we're so close to it. And I just hope he stays around because he meant the most to me. I tried to mimic everything I did in the ring like him, hitting the ropes especially. Because when he hit the ropes, you believed it. Because he would hit them so hard and so fast. And that's what I try to teach my students.
Now, what kind of atmosphere are you anticipating tonight? Texas Live. Obviously, we've all been to Texas Live many, many times for the All-In Kickoff Party. I know the event itself is not till July of next year, but All-In Kickoff Party tonight. Who all is going to be out there? Not that we need anybody else, but who else is going to be out there with you?
Well, we have the ex-Dallas Mavericks, Satnam Singh's going to be there.
See, Mike? I don't think he believed me the first time I said, oh, yeah, he's a wrestler now. And he goes, no, he's not. And I was like, he is.
We're going to have Abaddon, a crazy little zombie chick. Sammy Guevara will be there with myself. We have Athena. Who else is there?
We've had Athena on the show.
Yeah.
The Outrunners, who are very, very crowd popular right now. They're doing an amazing job, and they work like it's 80s. So it's like coming back, and it's pretty cool to see them, get their moment in the sun. It's going to be a fun night tonight, man.
How
excited! I hope you come out.
Go ahead.
I don't want to dip too far back into this, but I did when I watched the Iron Claw movie.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was like sitting there in the stands watching this movie. How have you gotten a chance to see that?
I have.
How authentic was the action and some of the things that you saw in
it? It was pretty authentic. I know they strayed from the story just a little bit, and maybe some of the family members were upset at that.
Yeah.
But
like that time period.
Time period it brings back memories, man, and it just feels like I'd watched that before. Not knowing the inside of the family workings and things, but just seeing these and being fans of them for my whole life growing up was like, I always watched World Class. That's all I got.
Yeah.
On my little bitty black and white television in my bedroom, about 4 inches long. It was crazy. I just had that little bitty TV, but I watched it religiously. Loved it. I didn't really get Florida where Dad was until I visited him. Right.
Yeah.
Or WC or NWA or WWF at the time, or AWA. I always got maybe Mid-South.
Okay.
Or world class.
Yeah.
Now, sorry. There's one other thing.
Yeah.
All the you've had different names.
Yeah.
You've had different characters that you've gotten to build. Has that been an exciting thing to go, all right, this is what I'm taking on now? And how has that evolution happened for you each time?
Yeah, it's tough. When you're given a character, especially the far out character as I used to have in WWE, Goldust, that was a scary moment. Scary because I'm trying to be a bad guy, a heel, plus this outlandish character. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've always been the redneck from Austin, Texas, Dustin Rhodes, right? So I stepped into it and I gave it a try, and it took about 6 months before I actually did some things that were stepping and crossing the line just a little bit, but that's when it worked. And once it worked, I was scared. Because they were screaming all kinds of really bad things at me and throwing things. And I was like, I think I can do this. Right? But you have to step out of if you're going to do a character, you got to go all in on it. Right? And that's the first time I did something like that. And it was terrifying, but I finally stepped into my own little shoes. Right? I wasn't Dusty's son anymore, trying to live up to his name. I did something on my own, and I'm very proud of that. It's a great character. And, of course, they want me back. Everybody wants me back. Everybody loves the natural Dustin Rhodes or Goldust, right? But I'm here now. I love All Elite Wrestling. It's the best boss on the planet. I'm having fun.
We've had him on the show several times, too. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's a special character, man.
He is a special character. Great man. I like the way you said that. A lot of energy. A lot of energy. Was there...
You got to be really listening to him to catch everything he's saying, because he talks 100,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, he does.
I think that is fair. Now, you talked about, and I want to dip back into, we'll get into the party tonight and All In next summer at Globe Life Field. You were talking about like the newness of the Goldust character. I know there was some discussion about Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. Did he just eventually not want to work with you anymore? Because that has been a rumbling for a long time.
Yeah, it was a touchy situation back then, and I understand. I was doing my job, and I felt he didn't want to be a part of it,
Yeah.
We did reconcile and become close afterwards, years down the road. But that was a tough time. And I'm just working. I'm just trying to bring this character to life and be the best it can be. And I think he took it a little bit too personal.
Interesting. Now, you talked to us about Cody some off air. We've had you guys both up in studio before, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know you're happy in AEW, and he's happy doing his thing. Is it tough, though, because you guys did get to, wrestle each other, team together, be in the same place for a while, and then you have to separate it again? Does that make it tough for you, or are you like, I get it, we're both doing our own thing?
I've been in the business a long time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like riding a bike to me. I miss him terribly. I don't get to see him as much because he lives in Atlanta, Every time we're over there, I try, but he's gone. He's championship schedule right now.
Yeah.
He's the quarterback of the company. He's doing everything to bring people in, and I'm very proud of him. As, my younger brother, he's doing amazing things. He's got a great mind on him for the business, and that's why he's in that position that he's in. And hats off to him. I love him to death, and I hope this run lasts for a long, long time.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was impressive to watch, because when he came in by himself and just texted,
he didn't have an entourage or anything. Yeah,
and he shows up and he's sitting there talking to us, and he's telling us this vision he has for AEW.
Yeah,
and we're like, okay, all right.
I
let's
miss
see how
him.
it goes.
I wish he was still here, but you got to do what you got to do for your family. You got to go where you need to go.
And if he could put the Rock shoulders to the mats 1, 2, 3 at WrestleMania, that'd be nice too.
That would be huge.
Okay.
I mean, the TKO group holding, boss, laying down for Cody Rhodes would be really cool.
Absolutely.
Is Moana going to do that, though? That's the question.
I don't know. What can I say?
The movie?
Yeah, that's The Rock.
I saw a picture of him today. He looks huge. Huge on set. It's just a little back screen shot of him. I'm just like, Jesus, that guy is so huge.
He is. We talked about the party tonight at Texas Live,
Yes.
AEW. The party is to kick off kind of the march to All In, which is going to be July 12th, Globe Life Field here in Arlington. I already shamelessly plugged that we have 4 tickets to bid off of that next week. How big of a deal is that to have it here? Because I know the last 2 years, obviously, at Wembley Stadium, and you've had 80,000 and like 55,000, give or take. So it has been a massive event.
Huge. Our first United States stadium show, right? And in Texas, home for me. I pray to God that I have something big on this show, and I probably will, and it's going to be an awesome experience. I've been in the Texas Stadium. Now we get to go to Globe Life Field. I mean, my goodness, just very cool feeling for me. Being, a Texan, a native Texan, we're coming home. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter if it's not in Austin, it's Dallas, wherever, San Antonio, Houston. This is home to me. So,
well, like I said, we have Tony Khan on the show quite frequently. And so I'm thinking the last All In was built around Bryan Danielson winning the world title,
right,
wrapping it up.
Right.
So if I'm allowed to book this and just start planning out right now,
book it.
We got 7 or 8 months to build up Dustin Rhodes.
Let's do it.
Trying to win his world title.
I like it.
Okay.
Micah Parsons wants to fight Jake Paul. Why don't we get him in AEW?
I need Micah Parsons to walk me to the ring.
That would be
awesome.
All right. So
Dallas Cowboy inspired gear. I mean, just, I
feel like we're helping out. Hopefully we're
listening.
selling tickets too.
Yeah.
As much as they're breaking my heart right now, still, I'm an ultimate Dallas fan, man. Never Houston.
Do you think you're sadder about this Cowboys season, or you'll be sadder Thanksgiving weekend when the Longhorns have lost to the Aggies?
It's a rivalry renewed.
I'm so excited
It's
about
been
that.
years. I am very excited about it. A&M's tough this year. They really are. I think we're tough too.
My 16-year-old son talked it into existence. He's like, I'm going to that game. And he was telling me and Mom, was like, what if I drive down there? I'll sleep in my car. And we're like, no, you're not sleeping in your car as a 16-year-old, this and that. And he ended up figuring out how to get a ticket to that game.
And it's a College Station too, so it's going to be we got our work cut out for us, because I think one of you said it earlier. We haven't had any big wins this year.
Yeah.
I think Vanderbilt was our biggest win. Georgia first half just killed us. So it's like, if we get that rematch, that'd be nice, and hopefully beat it this time. I think we can do it. I really do. And I'm just hoping that they make it to the championship, the Natty, man. It'd be really cool.
I will root for a lot of success for you in AEW.
Yeah.
I won't root for that, though.
I
hope you understand.
Hey, go Aggies. Gig 'em.
Oh, I love it.
No,
See how he's a good
gig 'em
Texan?
down, baby. Gig 'em down. Horns up.
So tonight at Texas Live for the All-In kickoff, 6 to 9.
Pre-sale, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And they got the pre-sales for All-In. If you want to go ahead and buy your tickets before just about anybody else can, you can do that tonight at Texas Live as well. Man,
we have some great packages too. So there's all kind of VIP packages. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for giving us so
Absolutely.
much of your time as well.
Yeah,
I really
awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Dustin Rhodes right here.
Hook 'em horns, baby.
I thought it was
That's where
going to
your
happen.
son wants to go to school.
That is true. That
My
is.
kid wants to go.
That breaks my
my
heart
kid's
just
there
a
right
little
now.
bit.
You know, another team I like right now is SMU, though.
Let's
Oh
go.
my gosh,
They're really tough.
They got a shot at the playoff as well.
They do,
Opponents.
man. I've always liked SMU ever since Ron Simmons went there.
I thought he was. Wasn't he Florida State?
Not Ron. Who was it that went?
Oh man, did I just mess up your flow? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm trying to remember who. God, who was it?
I like Derek Dickerson. I'll claim him.
John Concac. I watched him at SMU.
They're not going to be
McElhaney.
helpful to you, Dustin. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can't remember him. But yeah, that's right. He's Florida State.
Thank you very much. There goes Dustin
Thank you.
Rhodes.